Hello, 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 my loves. Happy Sunday. Hello to my loves on Facebook. Hello to my loves on Instagram. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Happy Sunday. How's your day going? I hope your day has been amazing. I hope your day has been absolutely bomb.com. For those of you that are joining me, for those of you that are jumping on, welcome in and welcome to Flow. For those that don't know me, I'm your wellness coach, author, and speaker, Coach Anna, here to help you feel better, to rebalance your mood, rebalance your hormones, and to boost your energy. Now, on today's episode of Flow, we're going to be going deeper, discussing the root cause of some of your feminine wellness issues, specifically hormone imbalance. Now, I see women and clients in my coaching practice all the time that's suffering from a different range of symptoms and feminine health issues. I call them feminine wellness issues. So, menopause, thyroid issues, challenges with their cycle. A lot of times they've reached a place where they've been diagnosed with or are dealing with more than one issue. And so they're in this space where they're searching for an answer, they're searching for relief, they're searching for a solution to get back to a place of balance, feeling like themselves again. A lot of times they don't really understand what's going on with their bodies, but they want to feel like themselves again. They know this for sure. Now, if you're here listening to this, then there's a chance that this resonates with you, right? So, as I do with my clients, I wanted to take time out, pause, slow down. And as in my wellness workbook, Ready for Wellness, I want to start with a really deep dive into the root cause so that you can understand what's going on with your body and make decisions from this place of education, right? It's important to understand what's causing, I like to say, your once slim, sexy, and super energetic, balanced body to feel so burned out so that you can create a customized wellness plan, whether it's with the book or with the wellness seminar, understanding what works for you because every woman is different and every woman's body is different. Okay. So now, if you've gotten your copy of Ready for Wellness, you know that I believe that our bodies are born balanced. For the most part, we're born healthy. I start this conversation with all of my clients, right? We're divinely created with our bodies working in a divine flow of organs and systems. Everything is interconnected and everything works together. But most of the issues that I see with the women that I support are imbalances in their endocrine system specifically. Our endocrine system has 7 glands that produce hormones that are communicators or they control important feminine body functions that affects everything from your menstrual cycle to your season of menopause. Okay. So our endocrine system as women is so important. Now, out of those 7 glands, the three most important glands that impact our feminine wellness are going to be our ovaries, our adrenal glands, and our thyroid glands. And we'll dive a little deeper, right? So for most conditions like fibroids or hypothyroidism, these are really imbalances along one of these 3 glands or along these glandular systems. Imbalances in your endocrine system can look like and feel like menopausal symptoms, so hot flashes, brain fog, fatigue, depression, or the feeling of not just wanting to do too much and being a homebody, like you can't quite get into the groove of things. Endocrine system disorders can cause long and heavy menstrual cycles, irregular menstrual cycles, those menstrual cycles that last for 2 or 3 weeks, right? Those really heavy, draining, iron deficiency menstrual cycles. It can also cause thyroid issues. So, for my loves with hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, or maybe even Hashimoto's disease, endocrine disorders can also cause fibroids and uterine issues because hormone balance comes into play, right? So, overall hormone imbalance. So, our endocrine system impacts us in a really big way. Now, of these 3 glands that help us feel most like ourselves, our ovaries are probably going to be the most important. So, when I speak of your womb, I'm speaking spiritually about your physical reproductive system, our uterus and our ovaries specifically. Now, the ovaries are small glands and they produce important hormones that make us feel feminine in every season of our lives, but especially for my loves that are experiencing perimenopause, premenopause, and menopause. These hormones that are produced by the ovaries are going to be estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. Okay, you guys with me so far? Okay, so I'm sure you've all heard me speak to the importance of progesterone. If you've gotten the book or you've tuned into a live or some of the content, I am always praising progesterone. Progesterone is the hormone that helps us feel forever feminine, and it's very important to our overall balance. But for us, estrogen and progesterone are known as the sex hormones that matter most as a partnership for women. Now, progesterone is manufactured in the uteries during the ovulation phase of your cycle. Estrogen is going to prompt your cycle, begin your cycle, and then based on that flow of estrogen, ovulation, then progesterone is created. Okay, so estrogen is needed in order for progesterone to be produced at the right amounts in your body. If you don't know the phases of your cycle, become familiar with your body. Now, thinking back to the concept that it's important for estrogen to help the buildup of blood flow for your cycle in your uterus. And then from estrogen, once an egg is released, we create and manufacture progesterone. So for my loves that have an anovulatory cycle, or for my loves that have a menstrual cycle but do not release an egg, progesterone is going to hiccup, right? That production of progesterone is going to slow down because progesterone is produced only when an egg is released. So now you're working with and living with and going through your day to day with an underlying hormone imbalance. And I want to pause right here because a lot of times we approach the symptoms of a progesterone decline or an anovulatory cycle, right? We can feel the symptoms of that. Sometimes it's an irregular cycle, fertility issues, mood imbalances, depression, fatigue. A lot of times we are addressing those outer symptoms with prescriptions or procedures because we don't understand that underlying anovulatory, say that 3 times really fast, that anovulatory cycle, the concept of that, and that connection to progesterone. So we're taking a deep dive into the root cause. Well, so what does progesterone do for you? We're talking about the importance of progesterone along with the endocrine system. So what exactly does progesterone do? Honey, progesterone does everything for us. It is the hormone that helps us to balance estrogen in our bodies when we think about estrogen dominance. It's so important because progesterone determines how heavy of a cycle we have. Progesterone prevents the growth and um, spread of fibroids, endometrial tumors. It helps us to boost our mood and motivation. Progesterone is responsible for the spark that helps us to feel sexy. It even prevents miscarriages by boosting the blood supply for the baby in the uterus, supporting a healthy pregnancy in the beginning of your pregnancy. So, all of our physical and our emotional feminine body functions that have to do with our uterus, conceiving, carrying a baby, our sex drive, our confidence, and then the health of our uterus, it's all impacted by progesterone produced in our ovaries. So, you can see how important our ovaries are when we think about our endocrine system as a whole and how we feel day to day. Now let's talk about our adrenal glands. So our adrenal glands controls our stress response. And honey, we are stressing right now, right? So our adrenal glands control how we're able to respond to and navigate stress. It responds and controls how we're able to bounce back from a stressful day. Without getting too deep, adrenal glands produce cortisol. Now, cortisol is a totally separate hormone. Cortisol is going to be the hormone that's in charge of helping us ride the waves of stress. Cortisol is released when we encounter stress, and the levels of cortisol should decrease once we are outside of that stressful encounter, whether there's traffic or navigating a coworker in the office that's doing the most and riding your nerves. We're all responding to stress with cortisol. Now, because we live in such a stressful society right now, there's so much going on if you don't know how to really go within and center yourself. We're constantly navigating stress every day. So a lot of times I see women where these stress hormones have kicked into overdrive. And so they're constantly releasing cortisol, pumping cortisol into their blood to a point where they fatigue their adrenal glands, which manufacture the cortisol. Now, this is known as adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue can feel like literal fatigue or a sense of being tired all the time, like being on edge, being moody. For a lot of us as Black women, I found that it uniquely shows up as an attitude, right? So we're tired, we're cranky, we're on edge, and we let everybody have it. What we don't realize is that our body functions underneath, again, are hiccuping or starting to sputter. So adrenal fatigue can also feel like burnout. For my ladies that are tired and just can't get back into the groove of them, every day is a hard day in terms of getting up in the morning. You need extra time. You need to sleep in the morning. Every day feels like a ponytail and sweatpants type of day. That could be that feeling of burnout or adrenal fatigue. Okay. So now let's tie in the thyroid. We've talked about the ovaries. We've talked about your adrenal glands. Let's talk about the thyroid because all three of them are connected. Now, the thyroid is a butterfly shaped gland that sits in your neck that influences your metabolism. But your thyroid needs a very specific nutrition to remain balanced, specifically iodine. And when we think about the standard American diet, so pizza, chicken wings, hamburgers, and tacos, we're not necessarily eating a lot of whole foods that are rich in iodine. And so we tend to have thyroid issues because we're not getting what we need just from a nutritional perspective, right? But when we think about those three hormones together, thyroid symptoms actually occur when excess cortisol, so remember the stress hormone, from our adrenal glands block the production of T3 and T4, creating an imbalance in the thyroid gland. So your adrenal gland is producing and pumping too much cortisol in your blood that is confusing your thyroid gland, which is along that endocrine pathway. We have to remember progesterone is our calm hormone that helps us and our body rebalance after stress. So, if you have issues with your ovaries and you're not producing enough progesterone, and you also are in a place of extreme stress day to day, whether it's work, home, or life, and you're pumping so much cortisol that's creating issues with your adrenal gland, and that excess cortisol in your blood is creating issues with your thyroid, right? So it is all connected. When your thyroid is signaling to you symptoms of imbalance, it can feel again a lot like adrenal fatigue, a lot like hormone imbalance. It can feel and look like fatigue, weight gain. A lot of times, my clients with thyroid issues have high or lower blood sugar and cholesterol. Sometimes, physically, thyroid issues show up as goiters and even pain in your lower neck, in the area where your thyroid sits. So, thyroid issues, when we think about it, are really adrenal gland issues. Understanding how cortisol affects your T3 and T4 levels, which you may have had checked with your physician. But when we think about adrenal gland issues, they're really at the root cause issues with the production of progesterone in your ovaries. So whether it's a thyroid issue or an issue with your adrenal gland, we're still talking womb health, although the symptoms are manifesting in your thyroid gland in your neck, okay? Yes, yes, yes. The picture that I'm trying to paint here for you, my love, is that your endocrine system and your hormones affects everything. Your mood, your memory, your marriage, your motivation. As different glands with your endocrine system begin to slightly shift or become off, they create symptoms. Now, these symptoms manifest differently for each of us because our bodies are different. But at the root are endocrine disorders caused by deficiencies in our diet and habits in our daily lifestyles that create this imbalance. We all have the same root cause. In my interview this week with Sister Deborah P. Kane, she shared that one of her physicians challenged her to look at her health as her responsibility, and a light bulb went off for me. I think endocrine disorders are the type of conditions that we can really impact, and we're going to shift back to a place of health if we eat the right foods and take the time to recharge our batteries every single day.
This is so important because most women that have an imbalance within their endocrine system are diagnosed with more than one condition. When I see these clients, they're usually taking a synthetic hormone, a thyroid medication, may have been diagnosed with PCOS. She's having a hysterectomy. A lot of times they're seeing a different doctor or specialist for each different symptom of imbalance along the endocrine pathway. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm one that's personally thankful for the level of medical treatment that's available when you see the right physician with the right education and the right motivation. But that's not always the type of treatment that we as women of color receive. We've heard about the disparities in the medical system, and sometimes we're taking a medicine that contradicts the other medications that we're taking, which can create a separate set of issues. Or we may even be taking a medication that's creating side effects that's just as hard and confusing to deal with as the original health issue that it's supposed to be treating. We're taking a pill for the pill for the pill. So we have to be mindful of our body and what it's telling us. Now, the diagnosis that your doctor provides you is important. It helps you understand what's imbalanced in your body, right? We do tests on our blood level, our hormones, etc. And they teach you how to alleviate the symptoms with the prescription, but that's short-term relief. What we need is information for you to heal yourself long term. Now, for the sake of oversimplifying these conditions, I don't want to say that they're all the same or group them together because I know that they affect every single woman differently. What one client may be experiencing, another may not, right? But what I will say is that all of these conditions are an imbalance along the same pathway, our endocrine system. So then the root cause of all the conditions is the same. And I understand that they aren't identical, but it's easy to understand that they can all be treated and approached for the most part with the same holistic modalities, nutritionally with the right herbs and the natural hormones. If you're experiencing hot flashes or a heavy cycle each month, I'm sure that you're leaning in like on a girl. Tell me more, tell me more. And that's why it's so important for me to share this information. Medication has its place in our healing journey, but for me, it's so important that we also receive the right education, the information that we need to rebalance our bodies, beginning with the root cause in a way that's relevant to our journey, specifically as women of color in America. These are the conversations that we need to have, and we have to have them out loud. So, I've created an intimate space where you can learn more about your feminine wellness issues, what to eat, what not to eat, and how to treat them to truly rebalance your hormones and feel like yourself again. My upcoming wellness seminar, Wellness and Wine, is coming up on September 4th, Labor Day weekend, here in Dallas from 12 to 6. I chose that weekend for my loves to have a 4-day weekend or a long weekend so you can join me and still have some time off to play. We're going to chat about these wellness issues in a way that's real for us. I want to get down to the nitty gritty. I want you guys to open up, ask some questions. We're going to eat some really good food and we're going to sip some wine. Not me. I'm breastfeeding, but you guys get it. Now, if you have feminine health issues and you're starting to notice that your symptoms are becoming more bothersome, menopause is just straight up making you mad, then this is the dinner party setting for you. This is your invitation to join me as my guest if you're waiting for me to invite you personally. And if you haven't, I do suggest that you purchase your ticket quickly because I want to keep the guest list tight so that I can touch each of you personally. You know, When I think about it, when I first started feeling off, one of the hardest things for me was that I really didn't know where to turn or who to talk to get a better understanding of what was going on with my body in terms of all of the symptoms I was dealing with before deciding on the right treatment. Like, what type of doctor do I see? I had symptoms ranging from acne to inflammation to weight gain, and I was so afraid to take a different prescription for each issue, watching my mom's health journey unfold. Thankfully, the Creator answered my prayers and provided me with the answer that I was looking for in terms of what was really going on with me, what was really going on with my body. And once I received the answer, I had to do the work to reset my sense of wellness. So, loves, I did the hard work for you. I developed the recipes, I organized the information that you needed, I researched the right supplements and how to take the herbs. I did it all so that you don't have to do it alone. If you want to feel like you need to join me, then visit my website, readyforwellness.flow, and register to save your seat. I promise that you will not leave the same way that you arrived. That's just how the spirit moves when we begin to deep dive into this type of information. I like to say it's the beginning of a journey. You start with really approaching how you feel and really approaching your diet, and other things in your life start to line up for you in a way that you don't even understand, because true wellness starts within and then starts to impact everything going on in your outer world, right? Usually when we have these type of issues in our body, when we have these physical issues, we're also facing issues at work, we're also facing issues in our relationship, we're also facing issues with our family, because it's hard to relate, it's hard to communicate, it's hard to show up as your highest and healthy self when you don't feel well within. If you're not able to make it or watching me from a different city, I got you, girl. My wellness workbook, Ready for Wellness, is also available on Amazon. It's a resource and it's available with Prime shipping for my loves that just cannot wait to get their hands on this healing information. There is great recipes that I share with you guys. There's activities that I share with my clients in my coaching practice. It's really a blueprint for you to start this journey, heal yourself within on your own at home. We are divine, feminine reflections of the Creator. You deserve to, you are created to, and you can feel health, abundance, and joy, not because of what's going on around you, but because of what you can awaken within you. This is what I want for you, and this is what this community is all about. Okay, my loves? So I cannot wait to see you. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. And as always, my loves, health and happiness. Let's see.